Hello. Right now we're going to give you a brief run through on our Canvas course. I am actually in a student view of our Architecture 1 course, and I just want to make sure everyone's clear on what's going on. So when I open up Canvas, I'll go to my dashboard, and then I'll pick whichever course I've got, which it'll default to the dashboard when I log in. And then it will come up, and I can look through it now. My home page right here is set to this page right here. It's just the overview of the class. It's got some videos, has the course description, has some information on naming conventions, got some links to our embedded textbook. It's part of our TICE grant from a few years ago. And then some of the pages we've got here that are most common. Now, this list is changing and growing. This is literally under construction. But for the most part, the naming convention holds. This is usually the unit or strand we're working on. This is the course, and this is the title of the page. Now, that's not always true. Some of them get more simplified than that. Others, it's like, okay, you're obviously in the course. This is just a page, and it'll actually just number on the back end of the page. As I look through this, it goes, that's the information I've got there. Now, for the most part, yes, I can do stuff with Remind. You can send me information. I can send you information. You are not connected as a student, but I am as an administrator of the class and as the instructor of the class. So you'll get stuff on Remind. If you haven't signed up for it, please do. Have your parents, your guardians, whoever sign up. I don't want to ever miss out on announcements for you. In fact, as we go down here, you're going to see an announcements tab on some of these. It's not active in this course, but sometimes I use announcements to let you know what's going on. If we go for remote learning, I like to use chat for instructing, because that way I can keep talking and you can chat me back. We also use like WebEx or Zoom for those kinds of things. So you can chat person to person, you can work collaboratively using that information there. Next victim, outcomes. This is kind of important for us. We use standards-based grades. These are the state core standards. These are not ones that we just said, okay, what do we need? We went to the state core and we pulled them up. So this is CAD Architecture 1, Strand 1, Standards 1 through 3. So there they are. And we do normal grades on that. I do use a decaying average because I'm looking for growth. I honestly understand that kids have good days, they have bad days. But as we're working through this stuff, we're looking for more good days than bad days, and that you understand and are competent in the information that we're presenting to you. So we start talking about AAC careers. This is usually pretty one. We do like resumes. We do an occupational search. We look at what will relate to you, and we have some assignments attached to those things. So you can see all that as you work your way through it. Units and measurements, we go metrics and imperial units. So you'll see those. You'll see construction techniques here, and some of these get quite long. We do a Habitat for Humanity design as part of the state core, but the ones that you have to watch out for because they are long haul type assignments. The portfolio. Students are expected to demonstrate by creating and maintaining a portfolio of exemplary work. This means that you literally keep a copy of your plans, but even if you didn't get full credit on it the first time, go back, find the errors, take those red lines that we give you, and make the corrections. No plan is ever perfect, ever. But if we can improve it to the point that it is truly at a professional level, that is something to be proud of, especially as a student in school. So if you go through and update those, you'll learn through that process. Now, we do expect students to demonstrate their creativity in this. So I don't like box houses. You'll hear me talk about it in class. If you design a rectangular box, yeah, it's a shoebox with some windows and doors cut in it. This is architecture. We want to go beyond that. I want you to critically analyze your floor plans, your buildings. Think green, think energy efficient. Work your way through everything as you're going, and it'll be a really easy transition to a certain extent for some of you. Other things we want to see from you as you're doing this. Workplace, we'll get to workplace skills in a second, but I want to see you develop your skills, oral, verbal, graphic. I require that in your portfolio there be some sketches from observation. I don't care if you're an artist. I really don't. I want you to go out and look around. Take some photographs. Most of you have a cell phone with a camera in it. If you don't, have your friends snap them and email them to you. Upload them into your portfolio, or have your mom or dad or somebody capture those things that you find inspirational and add them to it, and then practice sketching it. I will tell you right up front, the best way to understand like a lot of construction is to look at it, find a comfy spot, look at it and then just strip it down to its bare elements and sketch it out. Post and lintel construction, post and beam, some people also call it. Arches, how do they work? Um, Anything like that. How do you create a flow in a room when you walk in? How do you have a low, broad space that feels open? Um, you know, look at what lighting does to things. Look at what green does to things. Look at what windows and doors do. Mirrors. Look at the way the doors are framed or assembled. The window casings. Pretty much everything you want to look at, and as you're an architectural student, and look at it and see how it works. Now, other things that we have in here, workplace skills. This is one of them we track. This is from this. There's the Utah document resource. But professional connections. Basically, we expect you to, just like you're an employee, you're learning those work-based skills in high school. You're developing those talents, those standards, those normal behaviors for yourself. Get to class on time. Come prepared. Be in your seat when it's time to start, so nobody's waiting on you. I am here ready to start when you are, and if I'm not, there is some major issue once in a while for any of us. That's not a big deal. But if it's the norm that you're late, that's a problem. And that will, like, honestly, I worked for an engineer for years before I started teaching, paid for my college and undergrad, and still do some stuff for them. And guys and girls, we fired people because they didn't show up to work on time on a regular basis. Most companies will do that. If you can't depend on them, you're costing the company money. You're costing them productivity, and they won't keep you around. They'll find somebody that will earn them that money. Okay? So as you're looking at it, do those things. Your continuing education, yeah, nobody ever knows everything, so keep working on it. That goes in there, and that's not as big a one. But the responsibility and habits, that's when we really try to harp on. Responsibility and communication are the big ones. Guys and girls, we've got to learn that you're going to end up with a lot of information thrown at you. Architecture is completely subjective as far as what's good and what's bad to a great extent. Structurally speaking, not so much, but you're going to actually, this thing from Covey that's in his 7 Habits is one of those important lessons that I think you need to learn. Seek to understand your client. Seek to understand the design brief. Seek to understand what's being said to you, and then to be understood. You'll find you mostly have common ground. Okay. This next one here is one I strongly suggest, but I can't make you do it. A lot of you are involved in youth groups outside of the school, or in sports or clubs or something. That all works for this. But we would love to see you in one of the CTSOs. But the leadership opportunities, we want to see you demonstrate that. We want to let you, those go in your portfolio, that information related to that. We want to see you develop those good habits. Now, like I said, collaboration, communication, creativity, these are those essential 8 skills that the district talks about. We want to see those. So we're good there. The syllabus, like I said, this is a course that's in development. Refer to the syllabus. It actually breaks down how things go. It's basically our course disclosure. Has a summary of the different CTSOs we have. Any of these little things like this are assignments. Now, this is getting changed, so don't panic yet. There is a portfolio each quarter due. There is details. These are, you design a portfolio piece second quarter. There's a roof plan that goes in that. There is a stair plan. There is a left elevation, right elevation, rear elevation, front elevation. The foundation goes in there. There's, I've got to put the floor plans and stuff in here still. There is a Habitat for Humanity. It needs a roof plan. It needs its elevations. It needs its slab or foundation. There needs to be sketches associated with that. It's not really as horrible. It's just like these design math 1 and 2. I teach you how to calculate out things like how much concrete in a slab. It's really pretty easy. It's just a volume measurement that we do, but we have to do it in the right units and things. We look at landscaping. We look at how architecture affects you. We look at trends, and we have some discussions and stuff to go with these. So that's pretty straightforward there. Okay, so let's go back up here to the top. Modules. This is where you can see everything, how it breaks out. And so our modules break out this way. So there's our day 1. That's our first page. In fact, if I click on it, it's going to go back to that first page I was on. Okay, so I'm going to back up 1 step. So this is my lecture notes. These lecture notes produce as we go. This is the pacing guide, the document link, so you can see what's supposed to be coming up. And this document's linked on every one of the pages. And what you're going to find out is on each of those, as we go, there will be a link to the PowerPoints we use. Sometimes we just have to have work time. I mean, you got to have time in the lab to draw. So sometimes that day's assignment is, your pacing guide is, okay, we've talked to you, we've got the sketches, get yourself in the lab and let's get busy. Okay, so we'd have some of those. But for the most part, as you go down here, you'll see our discussions, like we do careers on our second day. We start talking about sketching and projections on our third day. Our fourth day is all about how notebooks should be put together. Those become critical to you. That is your best reference as you're working. We got some discussion questions and stuff we look at. Basic units in math. We start telling you how to convert and how to properly do things. So then we get to parallel projections and dimensions. We can do that really easy. But you see, every day breaks down. There's CAD software introductions. We got 3 days on CAD to get you started. And then we do some free CAD work. We show you how to do dimensions. We got a midterm. Elevations. We spend about 3 days doing just your first sets of elevations. Then we got to do your roof, and then we got to come back to your elevations, because your roof shows up on your elevations. But we can get all the base stuff done and then come back, put the roof on, and then finish up. Sections, they're fun. They're really not that bad. They just, you have to understand what's going on inside the building. Annotation, that's all your dimension. That's your general notes. That's basically anything that's got text in it. Your cabinet millwork elevations. How do you want your closets and kitchens and stairwells, etc. to look? Final quarter exam goes there. And then we do a reflection at the end and have your portfolio come due. Second quarter, like I said, we're getting it laid out. It will follow the same thing, but we're building a portfolio piece. Pages, you've got lots of pages, gentlemen, ladies. This brings us, it always comes back to this, is because it's the front page. So if I go all pages, we've got lots of information out there for you. These are just the published ones, by the way, okay? Discussions, right now I don't think I have any active discussions for you. I got 3 of them here that are pinned. Those will be unpinned because they're not quite ready for you yet. There'll either be discussions here, pinned here, and then the closed ones, you can see what you might have missed. But I leave them open pretty much until the very end. I ask you to be responsible and discuss things. Quizzes, as they come up, this is where all your, true false, this is all your exams that are completely objective, like your midterms, your finals show up there. They don't even let you unlock them until the due date. So they're there. All the assignments show up here, and there's a bunch of them these are showed by date. As I attach dates to them, they'll start populating themselves into the right place. People, you can see the rest of the kids in the class and people there. Collaborations, we haven't used this a lot because honestly, it's not really a great tool for this class. Conferences is in the same boat. Here's the files. Pretty much every file you have in the class you can access through there. Google Drive, you can link your Google Drive, and I link mine as far as documents go to this. I really don't use Master Connect, so I might as well turn that off, but grades is going to be the important one. So all of us are used to seeing grades like this, okay? And this is, like I said, a student view. So it breaks it down, normal student view. You can see what you got on everything, and you can go down here and say, okay, so what's my final grade? Well, it'll let you look that up, okay? It shows you your score out of whatever the possible is, et cetera, all the way down there. But for our classes, because we are standards-based, those learning outcomes right here relate to your learning mastery. So all of the standards, if you look under there, are listed here, and you can see assignments attached to them, and you can see how you did. We're looking to see that you're improving, that you're making growth. If you get all 4s, it's an A. If you get all 3s, it's a B. If you get all 2s, it's a C. So as you tally those out, it's just like a normal GPA on your card. But as we're looking at it, be prepared to watch out for some of these things. Some assignments, like the student portfolio, has 2 standards attached. There's the careers one, because you should have a resume in it, and your portfolio, okay, will go in there, okay? Student work, portfolio is there, your course fees or your waivers is needed. That's just a simple check off. You just have to take care of it before the end of the semester. AEC careers, that's the important one I want to see right there that you can look at. So these get weighted, and it's like you said, a deteriorated average, got to get right there. So as you pile them up, you'll end up, it should be relatively easy. Now, let's talk about something real quick. I go back to the syllabus here, and I go down right here. Look at what this is a generic one in there because they're attached to individual assignments. Let's start at the bottom, work our way up. Okay, critically insufficient, F or no data kind of scores literally means I have nothing, or the assignment is so significantly below standard and the basic expectations that there's no real other option than to scrap it and redo it. Or at the very least, basically, imagine buying that ultimate fixer upper where you've got walls, but that's it. You don't have the electrical's not up to code, the plumbing's not up to code, the floors, all the finishes are shot. You basically take the walls, you repair all the walls, and then you start redoing everything else in the process. That's where you end up with a score like this. The only other option is you basically didn't turn it in, and that one I don't see a lot of. Okay, approaching standards, that means you struggled, you fought with it, and you probably didn't get it. Major alterations and a reattempt are definitely in order, and yeah, absolutely, I'll let you do that, no problem. Okay, sufficient scores. That is literally just exactly meeting the checkoffs. The rubric you've got, the requirements, you meet them to the T. You don't go a millimeter past them. You don't do anything extra. Like, you have an assignment to draw a house with more than 4 corners, you make a 5-corner house. You do everything to the bare minimum. It exactly meets building code and specifications and the design brief. Yeah, that's going to get you right there. That is exactly it. Now, B range meets all the design requirements and some of the highly proficient requirements. So that literally gets into that gray area. Highly proficient assignments, they exceed the expectations. They show cross-curricular considerations. They show critical thinking skills. They show, in architecture, they make ties to color palette and light use and innovative green design, and there's all those pieces that go into it. You pull from the culture of the area, you address the site, you have the landscaping, the buildings, finishes, and textures that work and go into that right location. You see the historical reference to the design. Like, if you do a Spanish colonial, you understand and can design in and illustrate into your design the reason why bar tiles are used, why the floor plan is laid out in a formal manner where all of the private areas are to one side of the house and all of the public areas are to the other side of the house. And you understand why that courtyard works and what a casita does if you have one. You get all those bits and pieces, and every one of them is a little different, but you exceed the expectations, and that's the hard part. I'll be honest, if you're pushing for this, you have to put in the work. This is not easy to get there. Okay, this is really pretty easy. This is a little bit of challenge, but every student can do that without, especially if they invest themselves in their designs, which is what I hope for. And this level here is really truly investment, but also being able to take some criticism and make corrections and see what those criticisms really mean. Okay, sometimes we get what some people refer to as blinders on in our designs, and we can't see past. I mean, literally, we can see our image, and when somebody says, well, why are you doing that? Would this be better? And you think they're not paying your design or your ideas the due respect. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just that they are asking the question, and maybe they see a better way. For the most part, you won't design houses for yourself. You'll design for clients in real life. So as you work your way through it. Now, classroom rules are simple. All classroom behavior will be courteous. We're putting each other's designs out there. We ask you to please be courteous and polite to each other. Don't destroy things. Don't break things. It's just not professional. It's not adult. Class members will adhere to all school policies. As of 2020, that means you will show up with the proper PPE in place. You will wear a mask at all times in class. I will wear a mask at all times in class. I will sanitize my hands coming and going from the lab. I will make sure I clean as I go. I will make sure that I have my tools and those pieces I need on hand. Part of that means, as of right now, with your Iron Schools account, you will keep your engineering notebook and stuff and your pieces all digitally. Well, if I'm sketching, how do I make it digital? We'll have another video on that later, but it basically involves taking pictures with a camera or a friend's camera or a scanner and embedding them into your files. Okay. Everything gets turned in properly and on time. Now, if we ever had paper stuff, which we won't right now, it goes in an in basket. When you get in my classroom, right next to the door in my classroom and right next to the door in the lab are literally an in basket in each case. Everything gets turned in there because they go literally from that in basket to my desk where I work on them, and then they go into the received bin, which is actually a recycle bin. If you want it back, I will absolutely give it back, but I hold that recycle bin until the course is over, and if you don't come and get it, then I recycle the paper. Okay. But that's how everything's supposed to work. You're responsible for yourselves. You take care of yourself, your classroom expectations. Basically, if you're going to be late, tardy, whatever, in our current age, if you're sick, pop on, see what's going on that day. I will try to be as up to date as possible, but I want to make sure everybody has a chance to see what's going on and meet those deadlines. Okay. Materials, we try to make sure you're supplied with everything you need. There is a recommended or optional student equipment. Basically anything that you want to bring for yourself that you like. If you want to get your own fancy sketchbook, go right ahead. I highly recommend our local art supply store in town up on Main Street. If you want to do that for yourself, they have very good prices and they work with you to help. If you don't know exactly what you need, you can tell them what they're doing. Very knowledgeable staff. But if you just are ready to work, I literally draw most of the time on bond paper, and I just take a sheet from the printer, and we can take care of that for you guys and girls that want that. But that means you got to come up with some way to hold it, a folder, a binder, something, and we can, if you talk to me, we'll sort out what you really need. But if you want to get into some real, if this is going to be a career, I would suggest you, or something that you really are interested in, then go start getting your pennies and nickels and dimes together and start coming up with the right tools, the things you like. Practice drawing with a pencil every day. Practice drawing with a pen. Enjoy it. Okay. As far as the clubs and organizations go, like I said, they're here. We have a couple of CTSOs we run. We run Skills USA, which is formerly Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. And that is a great group. We have a strong tradition of being able to go. These dues are completely optional. They generally run about $20 for state and national dues for you, that you can take care of that. TSA is the Technology Student Association. It is also one we run through here. It is STEM based. It is it's not as broad as Skills USA, but they do overlap. They generally run for their state and national dues around $15. I think this year it's up to $17 because nationals up theirs by 2. So nationals is now like 12. But like at the state level, they put on a great state conference and leadership conferences. We have a great time up there. Our school has a tradition of showing very well at these. So you are absolutely welcome to be a part of that. Just let me know and I'll get you the paperwork you need so you can register with the nationals, and they'll let me know when you do. But that's where we're at with it. Thank you for your time. And if you have questions, please feel free to email me or chat me during class or ask me during class. And if we have the time and it's the right spot to do that, we will stop and cover that information with you. Other than that, I welcome you to class and I hope you have a good time.